Hello everyone, if you're new here, welcome, and my name is Jen. I'm a car designer and creative living in Detroit. Today I'm going to take you through this. This is the portfolio that got me hired. Thought it might be fun, informative, and probably a little cringy to open this back up and let's go through it together. This is the actual portfolio that 6 years ago I used as a senior college student to interview for the position that I have today. So as my main job, I've been working as a professional car designer for about 6 years now. What many people don't understand is, unlike many other industries, when you interview for a design job, the thing that really matters the most is your portfolio. When you're meeting with prospective managers or hiring directors, they want to see examples of your work. They want to understand how you think, what your process is, and what your style is. And all of this can be seen through the projects that you share as part of your portfolio. So I dug this out of the box in the closet where it's been hiding and collecting dust for the last 6 years. I am curious, looking back through this, to see what things I think I've done correctly, what things I would change now that I have more experience, and what things I probably should have just not done at all. So without further ado, let's open this up and see what's in it. So starting off, probably the first thing you notice is this portfolio is actually printed and bound in this metal post binder. Today, almost 99% of portfolios that I've seen reviewed are actually fully digital, but 6 years ago when I graduated, they were still going through this transition where some companies required a digital portfolio and some companies required a physical portfolio to bring with you to your interview. So I did do a printed version, and I found this really nice aluminum post-bound book on Amazon, and it's by a company called Pina Zangaro, which I believe is an Italian company. If I can find this again, I'll put a link to it in the description down below, just in case anybody's interested. I thought this was a really nice option for a cover for a book. So the other thing you probably noticed is the size. This is a 11 by 17 dimension, which is a standard size for printing. It's considered tabloid size. I also chose this size because it worked really well digitally on a widescreen format. So it allowed me to lay out one portfolio that worked as both digital and printed version. Okay, so let's open it up. I don't remember what this first page looks like. Oh, it's my cover. Okay. So this is my cover. I wanted to do something really kind of ethereal and simple, just communicated basic information about my name, the school I'm graduating from, and at the time, the year. Oh, so this is just a really quick little introduction bit that I put in on the first page. I don't know if I would do this anymore nowadays. I think I would just jump straight into my table of contents. Okay, so this is table of contents. I think every portfolio needs to have this as either the first page or one of the first pages. It just kind of lays out all the projects that you're going to be looking at, and it just really helps everything make sense. So I chose to put an introduction page in front of each of my projects, just kind of introducing them. I'm not crazy about my graphic design, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of the typeface that I chose, but at the time I thought it looked good. So this is actually from a project where we went to a local museum, automotive museum, and we chose some vehicles and we did renderings and sketches of them. So this is kind of like a mini project, but I wanted to put it at the beginning because it was very visually impactful. It really showed my sketching and my rendering abilities, so I wanted to get into that kind of right away and really make a visual impact. This was put intentionally at the beginning because I wanted to do something that was really impactful, that caught people's attention right away. So I thought the red was super impactful. Oh, wow, that's pixelated. Why did you do that? That's a very pixelated file. Okay, so these are more sketches from the automotive museum. Let's see. DeLorean and a vintage Cadillac. It's okay. All right, so this page, I think this is the last page for the museum. Yeah, I showed this sketch, which actually wasn't from the museum, but it was at the same time that I was doing the museum project. This was actually a freelance project. Somebody had hired me and was paying me as a client to do a rendering of a car that they were working on and that they were building. So this was actually a rendering I did for that. A lot of things I would probably do a little differently on this today, but you know, at the time, you know, you do the best you can, so. All right, project number 2. This was my senior thesis. I remember this, and I really liked this project. This project was really fun. It was the 2030 Dodge Descent, and it was sponsored by Dodge at the time. So good summary board, kind of tried to keep it concise and make it something that was graphically, visually appealing. Even though I'm communicating information and explaining things, I wanted to make it something that was visually impactful and showed that I had some graphic design experience. I don't know. There's a lot of things I would do different graphically on here now, but yeah, I mean, it showed I could lay out a page, I guess. Oh, jeez, okay. All right. So first page is sketches on this project. These are just loose, super loose ideation sketches that I did at the time. They're okay. There's that render. Why did I put that in there? I don't know. There's a red render on this page that I don't know why I put it in there. I shouldn't have put it in there. It's not even finished. Why is that there? I wish I would have had more developed sketches in this area. Things you know later. Oh. I don't like any of the renders on this page. I don't think any of them are good. Knowing what I know now, these would not be in here. They're not my best work compared to what I do now. Okay, this page is doing a lot better. This page is doing a lot more for me. I don't know what was going on with that last page. I should have just canned it. It shouldn't have been in there. This is the page that I should have had. The sketches in here are really more developed, more finished, more resolved, feel nicer. The renders here, once again, a little more resolved, feel a lot better. This is the type of page that I should have had from the beginning of this project. Oh, I forgot about this. This was actually like a little model that I had built previous to doing the clay. It was just a little 10th scale model built out of foam core and hot glue and nylon. I mean, it was cool. It helped inform what the final design was. That being said, I don't know if an entire page should be committed to it. If I were to do this again, I probably would make it like half a page. I probably wouldn't do an entire page committed to just this. These are all right. I mean, they're really loose. They're a little bit like ghosty looking, maybe a little bit too ghosty looking at them now. I should have done more pages like this and less like the first two. There's also stuff that, looking back now, I would improve on these sketches too. Wow, I committed an entire page to just side views. Not just side views, the same side view with different variations on it. This was showing that I wanted to do like an interesting finish on the model and play with this material thing that I had going on in the project. And I was playing with different side graphic breakups for the different materials that I had going on. That being said, I don't think necessarily this should have been committed to an entire page for just this. This was me working on the clay model, doing the clay development, and shows my package, shows my benchmarks, things that now looking back I'm missing on here. I don't have my dimensions. I should have had my dimensions printed on here on the package. Also, the photos look a little grainy on here. I don't know why the resolution doesn't look great. I wish those were better resolution. This was the finished model. So the thing about this photo is there's a lot of Photoshop going on. I actually only built half of the car. I only built the driver's side. The school that I went to, we typically only did half models. So this is actually half a model with a mirror down the middle. And then I took the photo and then I photoshopped it to get rid of that seam that ran down the middle of the car. So it looks like I did a full model. And just more photos of the model. Oh, on this upper left photo, I forgot to Photoshop out the seam in the middle of the car so you can see where the mirror was running down the middle of the car. Oops. So these were finished renders. Not my best work, not super great, super flashy. They got the job done, but you can do better now, I think. Oh, this was kind of a cool image. Basically, the project was based on this exoskeleton that had some sort of fiber woven around it. So I found this image online from Nike when they were developing their Flyknit shoes, and it had this like 3-dimensional loom with the shoe coming out of it. Photoshopped the shoe out, and then I photoshopped my car in. Wow, is this pixelated? Why is that so pixelated? This was a really cool image. It was a combination of building the model in the computer and then rendering it and then photoshopping it and cheating it a little bit to make it look a little bit better than it was. Yeah, I think this was a really good image. It showed I understood the idea of how the car would be put together, theoretically. I don't know why it's so pixelated though. I don't know why. Oh, my wheels. I loved my wheels. My wheels were fun. On the actual model, I had to thread them by hand. So they had these little cables that ran through them, and I 3D printed them with like all these little hundreds of holes all through them. And then I sat there at my desk with a needle and thread and actually threaded all the cables through the wheel by hand. And that took hours to do. But it was one of my favorite parts of the car. I like this shot. This was the SRT version of the car that I did. This was mostly data rendered out on the computer. And then I did a little bit of Photoshop on top of it to try to make it look a little more visually impactful. Probably do many things differently now, but it's okay. Okay, so this project I remember very well. It was not one of my favorite projects that I did in school, so I don't think I included a lot of it in here, but yeah, we'll see what we have. This is the Cadillac project from Cadillac Sponsored Studio. And you can see once again, I have an introduction page. I try to keep my introduction pages to just one page if I can. I try to keep it very concise and consolidated and laid out in a way that's graphically interesting and graphically engaging. First page of rough sketches. Actually, I'm happier with this as a first page than the first page on my last project, the Dodge project, because I feel like a lot of the sketches here are a little bit better resolved. There are a few sketches here that, one or two that I probably would not include. Looking back, there's some tweaky things in there that I would probably not include, but the really nice image on the page is that render at the bottom. I remember that one got a bit of attention. Design-wise, there's some things I would change about it, but Viscom-wise, I feel like it was pretty strong, and I feel like a lot of the pencil sketches on this page are pretty decent for what they are. So this page I'm less happy with. There's pretty much nothing on this page, honestly, that I would have kept now, looking back. I just don't like any of the sketches on here. I'm very unhappy with a lot of the work on this page. Sorry. This page, I remember doing this rendering and being very unhappy with it. Like I said, this was not a project that I was very happy with overall, so I don't feel like this rendering is really anything spectacular. I don't think it's showcasing the front of the car. I don't think it's maybe the best use of real estate on the page. I would have preferred to have a better view of the car and showing the front end, and also had the car take up the majority of the real estate of the page. So looking back now, there's a lot of things I would have done differently on this one. Oh, okay, so my GMC project. This was from my junior year, so my sketches, I'm curious, probably not as developed, so let's see. This was my introduction. So basically I was doing this truck for this guy who's a weekend warrior, takes his dirt bikes out, and trying to do something that could handle all his gear and be something that worked out well for him. Oh, okay, so I kept this project, because it was a junior project, I probably left a lot of it out, just did the highlights. These renders, looking back, are not great. At the time, I thought they were kind of painterly and loose and interesting, but these are a little cringe. These are a lot cringe, but you know, at the time they were what they were. Alright, so this page, I tried to do some interior development. Looking at it from where I was as a student at the time, you know, I hadn't done a lot of interior work, and so these were kind of pretty rough sketches. It was my first real stab at doing an interior project. So it's not very well developed, but I mean, the thoughts there, it just, I don't know what I was thinking. Why are there motorcycle seats? No, just put regular seats. I'll say this. The Viscom on the side view, I feel like is pretty good for where I was. Design-wise, I'm not cool with anything going on this whole project. Looking back now, I'm just like, what were you thinking? So as a student, you do what you think is interesting at the time, but then later, after a few years of experience, you look back and you go, why did I do that? So these were kind of interesting. I want to do these like environmental renderings where I kind of took multiple images and photo bashed them together, dropped the car in there, and made it all make sense in like this overall image. I think theoretically these are not bad. Once again, all the things that I talked about earlier that I'm not happy with the design of the actual vehicle still pertain, but I think the idea of what I was trying to communicate here is probably solid as an attempt to communicate. I had an internship, and unfortunately, when I came back to school, they told me I could not use any of my work in my portfolio. So I had to put this page in, just basically showing that I did have an internship and that I did do work, but unfortunately it was confidential and they would not let me use it. All right, so now getting into my personal sketchbook and my personal sketches. I don't remember what's in here, so I'm kind of curious. Oh, okay. So I've always been into drawing, like figure drawing, portrait work, anatomical drawing. So one of the things that I always really enjoy drawing is pinup girls. And so these are some of the pinup girl figure drawing kind of artwork that I had done at that time. So this is just basically showing VisCom skills, drawing ability, and then some more drawings, another pinup girl, and some figure drawing, some portrait drawing that I'd done previously. I think these were in pencil. So just showing like a variety of my work and showing my skill level basically as an artist. All right, so ending on my resume, and obviously this is now pretty outdated because I've since been working in the industry for a few years. So this would totally change, absolutely. All right, guys, so that was it. That was my portfolio, for better or worse. I think looking back overall, I would say I think the intention was good. Knowing what I know now, I would do a lot of things differently, and I think my skill level has definitely come up quite a bit. And also my design sense has changed quite a bit. So hopefully this was something that was interesting or entertaining for you guys to watch. If you have any questions about your own portfolio development, please feel free to leave any questions for me in the comments down below. Thanks again for watching. Remember to stay creative, and I will see you in the next video.